Hello you and welcome to some kind of Fox content and welcome back to Will, a Wonderful World, where I now spend like an hour and by process of elimination I unlocked a star on each one, except for one. This one, case kidnapping. As you can see, there are two squares that are gray, meaning they aren't unlocked yet. But somehow I got one of the squares that isn't unlocked. I got that, but I didn't get the other one. So I think I may have messed myself up here. I think getting a star on each story is not possible anymore. Also, this one has gotten blacked out. I don't know what that means. But in doing so, we got new mail, and we also reached a set rank that was on the locker room scene with Chan and Kang Bagya. There was a little secret unlockable there. I won't spoil too much. I'll leave that for you to find should you be interested in such. But just know there is a C rank, or a set rank, not a C. A set to be had. And we got that. But yeah, all the stars except for one that I think I messed up. So now we can finally get on with the game. My late daddy used to lecture me, saying that it was dangerous for us to have a predictable daily routine as the humans might be able to track our activities. Despite that, I had developed a habit of visiting the fresh seafood store at the corner of the street every day at noon. Yeah, I think this one is new. I just skipped Alicia's story because I think we already did that one. I'm not sure, but it was the one where they drink wine and then the bodyguards and all of that. I seem to remember that from an earlier episode, so I skipped that one. Apologies if we haven't done that one. Today, as usual, I was tank shopping. The tanks in the lobby pondering the most important question to me. What was for lunch? The fish in the left tank were all too big. The fish in the tank next to my feet looked delicious, but there were only 6 of them left and it would be too obvious if I stole one. I decided that I would go with the tank on the top right corner. No one would notice if one fish was missing as there were so many in it. And they had fewer bones too. Most importantly, they were really fresh. I hunched my back and I was about to jump up when my ears picked up a tiny noise behind me. The owner had just come in from the lobby from the back. I quickly hid behind a tank and watched as he opened the roller door, washed the ground in front of the entrance and sat down to wait for the first order of the day. The owner had blonde hair and blue eyes, which was not common in this city. The other humans called him Alex. I sneaked up on the door and meowed softly, pretending that I had just arrived. Following the principle of not trusting humans, I would never intentionally expose my tracks to humans. Still, sometimes I wondered if I needed to be so careful around these humans, whose every move was always so predictable. Take this guy, for instance. I was sure he would not chase me off. Hey, here you are. Just wait there for a second. A couple of minutes later, he placed a glass in front of me and poured me a glass of milk. Oh, it smells so good. Milk is truly a cat's best friend. But then I realized I wouldn't be getting any fish today. I meowed at the owner with my cutest expression. I want a full glass, please. He scratched his chin, seemed to understand something, and went to go and grab something from a cabinet. Then he put a few pieces of dried fish in front of me. What's up with this dried fish, sir? I'm here for the fresh ones. Ew! After Daddy had passed away, I spent a whole month eating the dried fish that we had saved together. Ever since then, even the sight of dried fish had been enough to make me sick. He pet me on the head. In the end, as a stray cat, I did not have the luxury to be picky about food. Besides, as long as I got along with this human, I could come back often and steal more fresh fish. So I bent my neck and rubbed my head against his hand, pretending to be a docile little kitty, and meowed happily at him. For the record, I was not actually happy. I was licking the milk with my head down when a strong smell of alcohol almost choked me. Patooey! Someone spat in his phlegm into the nearest fish tank. Here comes trouble. A man with black hair stood in front of the shop. A half-empty beer bottle was dangling from his hand, making a splashing sound. His eyes were wandering and unfocused. I recognized him. He lived in the small house that was the highest one in the community, in the hills. Both his wife and his son had blonde hair and blue eyes. It's him. They were much better looking than him. Although I had not seen them for a while, I heard that the wife had... The owner's eyes stayed fixated on his newspaper, but his hands were trembling. Well, as far as I knew, the relationship between the owner and the other guy's family had been complicated, to say the least. The black-haired man's blonde wife had often been seen hanging out with the owner in a very intimate way. Whenever the neighbors nearby saw them together, they would gossip about it. The owner was very concerned, but the woman didn't seem to care at all. Once I heard some humans chatting that the blonde woman had some kind of illness. What kind of illness would make people behave like that? I couldn't understand. The man had always been very nice to his wife. But the wife was a dragon lady. Not only did she have an affair, she would even beat up her husband and her son. Once I even heard her calling her own son a bastard. He looked so much like her. How could he not be her son? Well, it was terrible. As the days went by, the man began to lose his spirit too, and he wouldn't go anywhere without alcohol. But the one who had suffered the most must be the little boy. Yabba. He was so pretty and looked nothing like the other kids, so no other children would play with him. Sometimes I would run into the boy, and if I had nothing else to do, I'd play with him for a little while. If he happened to have some change on him, he would even buy me some milk. Compared to his parents, the kid was almost like an angel with catnip. Anyway, it was not a normal family. The man stared at the owner for a while, his mouth squeezed out a tss. Then his eyes turned to me. He crouched down and knocked over the glass of milk. All of the milk spilled out, some even got on my paws. It wasn't the first time this had happened, but the owner still didn't move at all, as if it had nothing to do with him. Damn you, stupid human, how dare you interrupt my meal? You wait there. I stared at the stone-faced man, waving my fist. I swear I'm going to stuff dead rats into your bed tonight. Spotty. Okie dokie, let's see what we can do here. So first, just do this. Keep it blanco where it's a Spotty. The flavored wine kept forcing down my throat. As soon as the one-armed man let go of my neck, a strange sensation took over my body. I could not breathe. My mouth was wide open. I grabbed at my throat with both my hands and fell to the floor. My whole body was twitching. As I gradually lost consciousness, I heard a couple of gunshots. The old man fell in front of my face. His eyes were wide open and full of shock. Blood was oozing out of his forehead, turning the white velvet carpet to a bright red color. Haha. Even though things had not go as... Wait. Even though things had not go as planned. I think that's supposed to be gone, right? Had not gone as planned. Because go, that's present. I don't know. I could die without regrets now, you dirty old monster. I would haunt you on our way to hell. He looked at me. I looked right back at him. It was a stare down. We stared at each other with our different sized eyes. Of course, I had the bigger eyes. At a moment like this, I had to overpower him with my fearlessness. However, I quickly moved the milk glass behind me a little. After the standoff had lasted for a while, he stood back up defeated. He turned away and walked into the nearby lottery place. Look, I won! Stupid human. You know? Not bad. So now we just need to fix stuff over here. So, knocked over the glass. What if we change those two around? I kept swallowing the flame. I would rather drink the poisonous wine myself than having the bottle smashed to pieces on the floor. A strange sensation took me. I could not breathe, my mouth wide open. I grabbed the floor, my whole body was stretching. As I gradually lost consciousness, the old man fell in front of my face, his face wide open, blood was oozing out, haha. Even though things had not gone as planned, you dirty old isn't this the same? Okay. So now we know it is not knocked over the glass in the top one here. So what if we do this? That is bad. Okay. So what if we do this? Okay, now we know it is not forced everything. So now we do this. Okay. And then we do this. Okay. And that means we have to move something over there. Interesting. When I accidentally knocked over the glass, the wine spilled out, turned the velvet carpet to a bright red color. The old man was scared clueless. He gave me a glance. Get over here and clean everything up for Boss Ray. I knelt before the man and wiped his black leather shoes clean. I picked up the glass and brought it back into the kitchen. When I returned to the room, the one man had already left, and so had the bottle of wine. I overheard the housekeeper saying that the old man had thrown the bottle away because he felt it was jinxed. I had mixed all of the poison into that bottle. What was I supposed to do without it? Oh! Still good over with Mr. Kitty. So what if we do this? Don't tell me I'm only gonna S-rank the cat story. The exquisite-looking glass was smashed into pieces near my feet. The one-armed man stared at me with a smile and emptied everything in the bottle onto the floor. The wine was turned red, and the red kept spreading, almost touching my feet. I wanted to step back, but I was paralyzed by his stare. I couldn't move my body even 1 inch. The old man came around after a little while. Did you poison the wine, you dirty bitch? To prove his innocence in front of the one-armed man, he grabbed a fork from the dessert tray, or the dessert tray, not the desert tray, and charged towards me in a rage. No. You were the one that should be dead, not me, not now. I picked up the largest piece of glass from the floor and stabbed at the scumbag. He stabbed the fork into my shoulder, but I had pushed the glass into his heart. The old man made a stifled sound and he stared at me with death in his eyes. He probably had never imagined that one day he would die at the hands of one of his lab rats. I realized that nothing mattered now. I knew I wouldn't be able to survive today. Heavenly Father, forgive me. I pulled the fork from my shoulder and stabbed it towards my own neck. Oh God. I felt it touching the skin and flesh of my neck. I needed to pull. Okay. There we go. You must be alive to enjoy life. There's no need to die in a hurry. Hang on, that's a good thumbnail, actually. There we go. The fork was gone from my hand. The one-armed man flung his coat over my shoulder, still smiling. Then he held my freezing, trembling hands in his one big palm. I could not remember the last time I had felt such warmth. I broke down sobbing uncontrollably. That should be a good one. There we go. Now, look. Okay, there are still like 4 stories we could get here. So what I did in the other one was that, okay, so now we have tried with blank at kitten and with this one at cat. And it's not this one, so we would do this, click OK, then it's gonna unlock a story. And in order to save time, so I didn't have to read all of the stories, I would just be like, distinguishing color. How dare you, you lousy loser. That was my lunch. You just wait. I swear. Stuff dead rats into your bed. Stone-faced man, however, seemed to wait. This new milk cocktail seemed to have an extraordinary scent. I, being the bravest soul in this whole universe, drank the milk that looked like it was going to give me diarrhea. As a result, I did get diarrhea in the evening. What was worse, it smelled absolutely damn human. Like that. I would just, glance through them quickly. We got more mail.
No puedo regresar.
A woman with fury hair. Is it Guy Fury? Likely not, since it's a woman. Uh-oh. Thursday. on the side of a bush-covered hill 2 kilometers away from Tai O Road. Through the scope of my M110, I was staring at the factory 1 kilometer away. There was no other vantage point around the factory. This was the closest FFP available. Okay, let's see if I can guess what FFP is. First French person. She's shooting the first French person she sees. No. Point. Something point. Forward. Flashing point. Final firing position. I was close. Refers to a chosen position by a sniper. Oh. Well. The wind speed was that, and there was no sign of that changing. Mil dot. I had laid out the bullets next to me in a straight line, warming them up in the sun. 2:10 p.m. A small yellow sedan drove up to the factory entrance. Loading. The door opened and a woman with a full head of fiery red hair, God, I can't say this word, got out of the car. Her name was Li Hua. She was the head of the firearms smuggling team in the block gang. Aiming. I pulled the trigger. Oh, we get a new one. The target was down. I saw a flash from a window on the second floor of the factory. There was another sniper aiming at me. A bullet pierced and shattered the scope. I jerked myself to the side. The bullet didn't go through my eyes as my opponent had hoped, but it did give me a severe injury. The right side of my face was burning. It felt like it was on fire. I lowered my body and slid down the other side of the slope. I got onto the motorcycle that I had prepared in advance. However, on the way back, my consciousness began drifting away. I lost control of the vehicle. The bike tumbled headfirst into a ditch. Blood was mixing with the muddy water of the ditch. It was black and red everywhere. While Li Hua had been killed, completing a mission like this was rather embarrassing. Perhaps this wasn't the right job for me after all. Alicia. Oh, that's also Alicia? Wait, is that Alicia later in life or is that a different Alicia? Okay, let's fix this one up quickly. There we go. So the target was down and then you pulled the trigger. I took myself to the side, the bullet did give me a severe injury. That's not good, so that's not it. That's just, man. Okay, well. So we need to pull the trigger before the target is down. So this, but then this. The bullet was right in front of my right eye. I had only one thought on my mind, just as it was about to pierce my skull. I'm sorry, Ray. So that's not it. But what if this? Yes. Success? The other sniper dropped down instantly when our eyes lined up. While I jerked myself to the side, the bullet didn't go through my eyes as well. I'm not. What is this sniper elite all of a sudden? Oh, failed the mission. That's not good. Okay, but what if this? Ha 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 ha! I could see in the scope that my opponent had dodged my killing shot. Nevertheless, I had earned enough time to disengage. Mission accomplished. I lowered my body and slid down to the other side of the slope. I got onto the motorcycle that I had prepared in advance. I rode away faster than a breeze. I reported the news to Ray in the luxury suite on the top floor of Melody Hall. He was very happy. I have something for you. Ray picked up his coat from the floor and pulled a small box from its pocket. He then handed it to me with his left hand. It's a shame I can't help you put it on. Oh, so it is her. It is the Alicia because it's the one-armed man. Later, I put the glamorous jeweled necklace into my special treasure box collection. Then I took out a necklace with a cross on it out of the box. It was the necklace that I had worn ever since I was a kid. I put it into an envelope. I wanted to mail it to my brother. Over the last 4 years, I had been regularly sending money to the orphanage back home. Yes, Aunt Benita had also written back to me a couple of times. She told me that Carlos had been doing well and that he had worked very hard in school. Carlos must have been all grown up by now. He must have become a fine young man. I really wish that one day I could get a letter written by him. And there we go. Did we? Nope, we need 2. Okay, I can quickly get those because I have an idea here. So there, and then we switch those 2 around. Let's just see how this fails. Dodged my killing shot. Nevertheless, meanwhile, I was distracted. This is where we die. Uh-oh. We'll be enhancing the security after this. I'd failed my first mission. The noise from the engine echoed through the valley. Upset monster. So that's a rank B. And whoopty-doopty, click. Uh-oh. Wait. There we go. Now we got a star for the new Alicia. Same old new Alicia. My bullet pierced and shattered my opponent's scope and skull. Meanwhile, while I was distracted, the red-haired woman had disappeared. I lowered my body, slid from the slope, got on a motorcycle, and there we go. I'm making quick work of this. There we go, and thus, ta-ta-ta-ta! So we got an S rank there. We did not, we got an S rank for all of them, but we did not get the stars here. There's only 2 stars left, or 2 stories left for Alicia and 3 for Sir Spotty. Let's just see what's up. The dancer. Stalking mission. Yeah, you know what? Let's quickly dive into the news stories here, and then in my own time, I'll do all the star stuff. At the southeast corner of Hong Kong Island sat the largest and most secure prison in the city, Hong Kong Central Prison. I gave the guards at the entrance the name Warden Crisis. They glanced at my stripper outfit, casually flipped through the stuff in my tiny handbag, and let me through. No one else was in the warden's office except Chris. There was a radio placed next to the sofa. It was playing some unknown Latin music. Warden Chris's special hobby was likely the only weakness in this concrete fortress. He liked Latin music. Moreover, on the last day of every month, he would invite a young female dancer into his office. None of these girls had ever been seen again. Some people had suggested that they might have gotten new identities to start new lives somewhere else. Others insisted that they were dead. In any case, that was the only information I had managed to gather. The uncertainty made the mission tonight a little risky. Nevertheless, it was the only way for me to approach him. I ignored the warden's leering looks and started dancing to the music. I didn't know the song, but the familiar melody still made me feel nostalgic. For a brief while, I felt like I was back in Mexico. I could imagine myself strolling down the street of the lovely, yes, bathing in the warm sunshine, waving hello to everyone, saying Buenos dias. I extended my hand towards the warden and shot him a passionate and inviting look. And then I shot him. He grabbed my hand. I felt a sudden pain in my stomach. I had to run into the bathroom. For some reason, my stomach suddenly started hurting. It gave me a bad feeling about tonight. If I proceeded with the mission, it was probably not going to go smoothly. My instincts had never been wrong before. A few minutes later, I escaped through the bathroom window. Never force yourself when you are feeling uncertain. Ray had taught me that. However, Warden Crisis had already seen my face, which meant that I couldn't attempt this mission anymore. But even if we sent someone else, it would be much riskier to follow the same strategy. I screwed up, Ray. Okie dokie, next letter. Officer Yi Yun was still in the hospital once again. Apologies if I mispronounce. Meanwhile, Officer Min Yun had not shown up to work for a few days. Either Lieutenant Kang had mentioned that he had been absent for health reasons. So he and I were the only active members of Unit 4 at the moment. We were in room 403 of the Sunshine Apartments. But there were no sunshine at all. The room had no furniture except a fridge, a microwave, a simple gas stove, and some bowls and dishes that had not been used in a long time. The thick window shades had blocked all of the light out for months, too. The whole room smelled like mold. However, it was a perfect location for surveillance. I quickly set up the telescope and pointed it at a window in the middle of the 3rd floor of the opposite building. I could see through the telescope that a full-figured woman was having breakfast. Her lover was a drug dealer, indeed this one, who oversaw the transportation of all their goods. He was also an important suspect in a murder case from a few days ago, la-di-da, and he hadn't been seen in the past few days. This was my first time partnering with Lieutenant Kang. Well, based on this set rank I got, you two know each other by now. I had not been in Unit 4 for long, but I had come to learn that it was nothing like the rumors that I had heard. Unit 4 didn't have a lot of people, but it had an abundant talent. An amazing marksman, a master of transfiguration, not to mention the lieutenant himself, who was a hidden beast. Lieutenant Kang had told me the truth about what had happened to him during our fight after this was stabilized. He told me that I had met his other personality named Young... Yes, he was a different person altogether. He was very violent, and he didn't have access to Lieutenant Kang's memories. Therefore, for the safety of his colleagues, he would usually only go on solo missions. I couldn't believe it at first. I had suspected that Lieutenant Kang was just yanking my chain because he didn't trust me yet. And he didn't want me to know the true source of his strength. However, when I later went to visit Officer Yi Yun, she had told me about her own experience when she first joined the unit, including the same story about the lieutenant. That was when I finally realized it was all true. Multiple personalities were not common, so the lieutenant had always kept it to himself, especially about where it came from. In any case, this small quirk did not stop me from feeling closer to him. Although he was a weird person with an even stranger temper, he cared about us deeply. Just the other day, he had gone screaming at Unit 3 because their men wouldn't shut the bathroom door properly. And it was making my seat smelly. It was so awesome. As for the rumor about how no one wanted to join Unit 4, that was a total lie. They must have all just been sent away by the lieutenant. Because they had been too weak. Yes, that must be the case. Hang on, need a drink here. There's too much reading. This was my first surveillance mission since joining the force. The more I thought about getting to be with the lieutenant alone for the next few days, the more excited I felt. I wondered if he would be willing to spar with me. Actually, how about now? Lieutenant Kang, would you like to exercise a little? Beep beep. The doorbell buzzed with a terrible timing. I opened the door and a young woman was standing outside. She said she was a freelance writer who lived next door. She saw that there was a new neighbor, so she wanted to come by and say hello. The writer then asked me what we did. She kept asking me a lot of other random questions. There were so many that I became completely lost. I like beautiful women, but I couldn't handle them. Just as I was stuttering hopelessly, Lieutenant Kang came to the rescue. He explained to her that we were brothers and we had just moved into the city. He was a journalist and I was his little brother, who was a chef. I couldn't help but give him a look when I heard the last bit. After spending some more time with him, I learned that Lieutenant Kang, while extremely strict most of the time, also had lots of tricks up his sleeves. The writer had not stopped oogling the lieutenant ever since she had first laid eyes upon him. See, that was our lieutenant, attractive in every possible aspect. He quickly got rid of her, then told me to keep a close eye on the room that we were watching before he left. He must have gone grocery shopping in preparation for the next few days. I used to hear Officer Min Yun tell stories about how they'd always had nothing but kimchi-flavored ramen. It wasn't particularly healthy, but as part of the mission I was perfectly fine with ramen. Besides, I loved kimchi. However, 20 minutes later all I could see in front of my eyes was an entire grocery bag of ice cream. My heart was bleeding. How did I forget that the lieutenant ate nothing but high-calorie junk food? Officer Min Yun must have bought that ramen himself. I sat next to the lieutenant and resigned myself to my fate. This is actually kind of cute. I kept an eye on the mistress while munching on ice cream. I ate an ice cream cone while she was watching TV. I ate an ice cream cone while she was watering the flowers. I ate an ice cream cone while she was making lunch. I ate an ice cream cone while she was taking a nap. I got a brain freeze. I ate an ice cream cone while she was ice creaming. When it was almost sunset, the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream for the night, and my ice cream began to rumble. Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. Yeah, I think he's having a brain freeze. The doorbell buzzed at an inopportune time once again. I opened the door. It was the writer again. She was carrying a bag of groceries. Oh no, more ice cream. You guys haven't eaten dinner, have you? Shall we eat together? I have some extra food. Besides, I would really love to witness the chef's skill. Uh-oh. She walked past me and went straight into the house. She changed into a pair of slippers. Hopefully more than just that, while standing in the doorway and kept peeking around the room. I could tell that dinner was not her real purpose. However, my stomach full of ice cream had me on the edge of a meltdown. Looking at the bag of fresh vegetable and meats, I couldn't help but salivate over it. Wait a second, the chef! Was she referring to me? Ah, crap. Well, Lieutenant, shouldn't you be responsible for your lies? Just as I was thinking about him, Lieutenant Kang came up to the doorway too. He slammed one hand onto the wall with a bang. I hope the story isn't as long when I start switching things around. At the doorway, Lieutenant Kang stared at the writer with a lustful look. What a shame we've just eaten. Sure, ice cream. Although I usually go to bed later than my brother here. Wait, what? Who between us always starts setting up his bed before 7 p.m. here? Can I come over later? I'm not a bad cook myself. Who can cook a milkshake? Well, you couldn't just take the stuff out of the fridge and set them aside for half an hour. To my surprise, the writer seemed really into the idea. In that case, I won't bother you now then. Well, goodbye, but leave the food. As for tonight, I don't sleep until late either. You're welcome to join me for a late night snack. You look so excited that I think you could go on for a few days without sleeping at all. At last, the writer finally left. I let out a sigh of relief and went back to the window. Oh crap, the person at the bottom of the building was the drug dealer we had been waiting for. Was about to take off! We rushed downstairs, but there was no sight of him anymore. For the next few days, we never saw him show up at his mistress' place. Considering that he had left in such a hurry, he probably would not be coming back anytime soon. Mission failed. Jesus, that was a long story. I'm not gonna read all of that if we, switch things up and stuff like that. At least it's only this. There aren't like 17 different things I can switch around. What if we do this? What will that do for anyone? Oh wait, I should get him to run to the bathroom. Ah, well. Okie dokie, so I'm cooking here. You're welcome to pause and read if you want to do that. But I feel like I've done enough reading for today. He didn't want to interrupt me, so he had gone after the guy alone. Gone with, been able to catch the guy for sure. So that's not good. So I need to have him. This, I think, will actually be good. I'm gonna take a drink again. My throat is tightening up. It must be the ice cream. Really? Really? I wasn't prepared for that. I sat on the toilet and let everything run its course. When I finally got out of the bathroom, both the writer and Lieutenant Kang were already gone. Not until later did I learn that while I was in the bathroom, the lieutenant had seen the drug dealer show up at the home of our surveillance target. He didn't want to interrupt me, so he had gone after the guy alone. Okay, so I need to find a way to get with him. Perhaps my passion had infected the warden too. There was something twisted and dangerous about that look. Feeling a little uneasy, I decided to make my move immediately so that I could complete the mission and protect myself before being exposed. But he had grabbed my hand so tightly. Ah, piss, I should have switched them around. Then he kissed me. It was already too late by the time I noticed a strange taste in my mouth. Oh, this isn't good. Yeah, I think this is gonna be bad for both of them. Not necessarily, but not good. What if Lieutenant Kang grabs your hand and then this? I think that might be an S rank for us. One went into the bathroom and cornered me. He picked up the fake fingernails that I had just left on the sink. He noticed the fatal smell. Ah, piss. Every day of life I had since then had been a gift from him to me. Oh, that's sweet. I didn't know if anything had happened between him and Chris, nor did I care. I would never give anyone a chance to take advantage of Ray. I would rather die than giving him up. I bit down and the taste of bitter almonds exploded in my mouth. Go! Lieutenant Kang came out from inside of the house, grabbed my arm and led me outside. See, I think this is gonna be an S rank. We ran into the drug dealer who was just leaving from the building on the opposite side of the street. He took a glance at Lieutenant Kang and immediately started running as soon as he recognized him. The guy was pretty fast. We ran after him for a few blocks before we finally trapped him in a small alley from both ends. The next day in the interrogation room, he was very tight-lipped, refusing to answer any of our questions. After half an hour without any progress, Lieutenant Kang stood up and turned off the video camera. He went back to his seat and leaned closer to the table. He whispered to the guy, "How about we make a deal here? A deal? Yes, I'll have my chef cook up some ice cream for you." What kind of trick was Lieutenant Kang trying to play now? The guy was apparently as curious as me. He leaned forward, waiting to hear what the lieutenant had to say. Lieutenant Kang pulled on a switchblade. He flicked it open and stabbed it into the back of the guy's left hand in one clean move. The guy screamed out loud, but he didn't move, worried about hurting his hands even more. I suppose that even he was unwilling to risk his own life. He finally started talking while he shook in pain. If I answer your questions, are you going to recommend a lighter sentence?" Lieutenant Kang smiled and pulled the knife out. He put it away without even wiping the blood off. After he gave us his statement, the dealer took off his jacket and threw it aside while cursing non-stop. That's when I saw a giant green python tattoo on his left arm. The lieutenant suddenly went quiet. I called his name more than a few times before he finally came back to himself. He stood up, patted me on the shoulder, and before he left the room said to me, "He's yours now. Make him pay." That's an S. Yep, and that's a bad. But shall we just switch a rune here and get an A? Wait, what? How's that not an S rank? Uh-oh. What if we do this? What if we do... No, that only changes his story. I need hers to change. God, pissums. Pause the episode if you want to read this. Sure, ice cream. I'll do usually, but very late and start to bed for 7 p.m. Brothers. I only eat snacks. Snacks? Kang grabbed hand tightly. Face suddenly turned bright red. Ladies, face. In that case, goodbye, but leave the food. Enjoy your snacks. Food. And with the wink when she left. Did I just fall in love? I went back to the window and... crap. Okay, so... Come on, move along, move along, move along. Then how do I make hers go all essy? For piss's sake, it got worse! It can't be this. Well, it changes for her, so maybe. Perhaps my passion had infected the warden too. He was doing with this, there was something twisted, feeling a little uneasy. Complete the mission. Again, struggling to breathe, he fell to the ground while grabbing at his own neck with his hand. His face turned to a dangerous purple color. He would never see the tiny scratch on the back of his neck that was killing him. I calmed myself, took off the poisonous fake fingernails and the excessive dress and jumped out the bathroom window. That should be an S. Or... I had barely pulled my pants up when Lieutenant Kang grabbed my arm, led me out from the bathroom and kept running outside. And there we go. So this is gonna roll into an S rank too. There we go, we did it. Come on, roll along. Then we go with the stabbing and the whatnot. Come on, come on, come on. Statement, curious non-stop, or cursing non-stop. Went quiet, came back to himself, stood up, patted me on the shoulder. He's yours now, make him pay. And thus, double S rank has been achieved. Everything is S around here. We only need 2 more there to get the star, 3 more for the cat, 2 more and 2 more there. Okay, I'll do those in my own time, and in the next one we are dealing with a black box. Is it... Wait, disasters in Unit 4. It's probably because the ice cream. The black box, is that the one up here? This one? Well, I guess you just have to wait until the next episode to find out. For now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about all the reading. And I hope to see you in the next one. Alright, I'm out.